Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 12 has been out for about 5 days now as I'm recording this. I've been using it every single day, all day on my iPhone X. I also have it on an iPad Pro, and on both of the devices, I have to say, at least in my experience, and many of yours as I surveyed you on Twitter and YouTube just to see what you had to say as well, it's been more stable than it hasn't been. In fact, it's been more stable, according to you, than the previous version of iOS, or iOS 11.4 or 11.4.1. We'll take a look at that in a moment, but I wanted to share with you my battery life and my issues. Now, the two obvious issues for me on this particular beta is Skype. I don't really use it that much, but some of you reported that it was crashing. If I open it, it will crash every single time. You can't keep it open, so Microsoft will need to update this. Apple changed something, whether that be with APIs or something else that's causing it to crash. Also, in Facebook, I was in Facebook, I scrolled, I opened it, it worked fine, I scrolled, and immediately the phone completely froze, crashed, and then either rebooted or reloaded Springboard at the main screen here. So it just completely stopped and then started over again. It took about 30 seconds that time for it to come back up too, and then it worked fine. It's been working fine ever since. I haven't rebooted it or anything. So that part's working good. There are some stutters here and there. Sometimes I'll be scrolling like this, and then it'll just kind of jitter or stutter a little bit. And for the most part, it's good. In the App Store, sometimes I keep getting a retry when I go to load the App Store, or I'll just have to open it and close it. But for the most part, it's been pretty solid, and it's by far the most solid new iOS Beta 1 that I've seen probably since iOS 6, quite honestly. It's by far the most stable. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you should use it. Some people have had a lot of issues. But let's take a look at my battery. Now, to be fair with the battery, I haven't used this a ton today because I needed to take a little bit of a break. I've been making a lot of videos here, so I want to take a little bit of a break. Just to relax a little bit and then get back on making more videos so we can share this experience with you and talk about that. Now, you'll see here screen on usage for me has not been a ton today, but I haven't had it plugged in all day either. So I took this off the charger at about 6:30 this morning. It's 11:09 p.m. and it says I have 3 hours and 2 minutes of usage over the last 24 hours. If I go to the 4-day mark, you'll see here 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So that's over those days as of right now since Monday. That's my usage. So not incredible based on what I was getting before, but it's lasting all day, no problem. And show usage time. So you'll see what I use: 22 minutes on mail, 18 minutes on Twitter, YouTube Studio, 20 minutes. So like I said, not a ton today, but quite honestly, it's been pretty good for me. Now, I do a lot of checking notifications and things like that, and I kind of hop into the phone real quick, maybe check Twitter, hop right back out. So I have been using it a lot. I did do a follow-up video on the battery as well yesterday. But let's take a look at what you had to say. We'll go into Twitter. Now, out of 844 votes, there were 39% of you that said this was great, 9% said terrible, and to compare this, usually about 11% say it's terrible. 19% said it's much faster, usually on older devices, and 33% said okay, but some bugs. Now, I would expect some bugs with an early beta, like I said. Let's scroll down, and there were quite a few replies, so I'm sorry I can't read all of them. Here's one battery life. This one was actually pretty impressive. I looked at this earlier. 55% battery left, and 8 hours and 10 minutes. This looks like it's an iPad though, so it's probably why. Let's keep scrolling down. The most stable first beta I've ever used. I get some crashes, but other than that, it's pretty great. I'm going to download it on my personal device. One thing to say about that is, if you're going to put this on your main device, just be careful. It's not something that's critical to you, because sometimes you do have to format this and maybe you'll lose your data. That's normally why Apple doesn't push out the public beta usually for 2 to 3 developer betas. They said it'd be out by the end of this month, so we have a couple weeks left. Let's see, it says I'm currently using iPhone 8 Plus. Haven't really noticed much difference in the speed department. 7 Plus and iPad Pro 9.7. Performance and battery are great. iPad animations are smoother, but there's an issue with viewing some text on WhatsApp and Telegram. I'm not sure what that says. Let me know in the comments below, though, if you wouldn't mind translating that. Let's take a look here. I'm actually surprised to say that iOS 12 Beta 1 is faster and, dare I say, more stable than 11.4. Insanely good on my 7 Plus, fast, 0 lags, not a bug to be found. Let's see, waiting for my iPhone to get out of the service. Let's see here, out of service. Really good aside from a couple stutters here and there. Feels just as good, if not better, than iOS 11.4 on my iPhone 10 and iPad 5th generation. It's way faster than iOS 11, but the battery life really sucks on my iPhone 10. iPhone SE, a little bit faster, but hanging here and there. And I just went into low battery mode. I've been using it on the iPhone 8 Plus, and there's still some bugs. And let's take a look at these here. Running it on my 7 Plus, it's very smooth. The only issue I had is using FaceTime. My phone gets unusually hot. I forgot to mention that. While I was using FaceTime, it got really hot right here on the iPhone 10. So I'm not too concerned about that because it is using a lot of different things, but it could be something that they need to optimize code because they did change FaceTime quite a bit. Let's take a look at the YouTube community, though. Now on here there's similar results, but there's 3,600 votes. So that's a pretty good amount of you that gave us some feedback to see what's going on. So 46% said great, 8% terrible, 14% much faster, and 32% okay, but some bugs. And then of course I asked what device. So again, much faster on the 6 Plus, iPhone SE is great. I can't get to all of these. There's over 140 comments, so let's go down. Now, I do have this running on an iPhone 7 Plus, but to truly use a phone all day, it's a little bit difficult. Now, I do use this, and I also use an Android phone at the same time on a beta, and so I'm going back and forth depending on what I'm doing. Usually I'm on the iPhone 10, though, but here you'll see here's an iPhone SE, and most people are reporting it's fast on here. Most people are reporting it's pretty good on the 7 Plus, and I'd have to say it's pretty good on iPhone 10. Now, I've been using this on CarPlay as well. CarPlay is acting a little strange with apps such as Pocket Casts. So sometimes it won't load properly. There's something going on where they may make some changes, and we do know that we're going to be able to put different apps with maps on there, so Google Maps, Waze, as long as they update that, it'll be available. So Google will have to do that. So iPhone 8 Plus, almost no bugs. iPhone 8, speed is awesome. This is how it should be, but battery is bad. About 1.5 hours of screen on time or less. Let's see. Can anyone explain why my iPhone 10 maximum capacity is 93%? So one thing I want to mention before we go any further is under battery, you have battery health. And one thing to keep in mind is this is a beta, so this does not mean it's 100%. Even though mine shows 100%, mine actually could be lower than that. I just put it on the charger, leave it all night on wireless charging, take it off in the morning, and go. So it's working fine, and I can't complain about that, but the battery health, if yours says 93%, I really wouldn't worry about this until it finally comes out in the autumn or fall, depending where you live, what you call it. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would just use the phone, and if it's starting to really slow down, then I would ask Apple to replace the battery. So back to YouTube here. A lot of people saying great, okay, but some bugs. Great. It's been absolutely great for me. I haven't seen any bugs whatsoever, yet I have to say this is probably the most stable iOS Beta 1 I've ever seen. I would agree with that, like I said. Can't play Fortnite. It crashed after I started it many times. So some people were asking me that, and yeah, if you're really into Fortnite, you may want to hold off on this. The beta honestly runs better than iOS 11.4 on my 7 Plus. Battery life is about the same, but it's a beta. Great on the iPhone SE, much faster. iPhone 3GS. If you have a 3GS running this, I would love to see that. I'd love to see an iPhone 3GS that was updatable to a new version, but unfortunately that was unsupported a long time ago. But anyway, I think for a first beta, this is definitely an improvement. So I'm glad to see Apple focusing on stability. I would love to see more features, but I'll take stability this year and a redesign next year as much as I wanted to see a redesign, because I like new things just like you do. Let me know your experience in the comments below. What's your favorite feature of iOS 12? I'd love to hear what you have to say about that too. I'll link this wallpaper in the description below. This is from macOS Mojave. This is the dark mode theme. Yesterday, or the last video, I posted the light theme. So if you're using the light mode, or whatever you call it, regular mode now versus dark mode, Those are the two wallpapers. So I'll link those in the comments or in the description below. Let me know your thoughts again. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe and like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.